Today on the LA Food Podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, dear listener. In the spirit of thanks, I want to express my gratitude to you for tuning into this show week in and week out, and to the Princess Cake Gods for allowing me to score a cake order from Quarter Sheets to celebrate my wife's birthday in December. And if you think that line's going to ruin the surprise, think again. She's yet to listen to a single episode of this here podcast. Like many Angelenos do for the holiday season, we're taking a trip on today's show. We're checking in with the Big Apple. Friend of the pod and host of Compliments to the Chef, Nancy De Silva, is with us to talk all things New York, including new restaurant trends that emerged in 2025, why the reservation landscape is so damn hellish right now, and what New Yorkers on the ground make of the recently released Michelin guide and the newly minted food critics of the New York Times. For anyone planning an upcoming trip to the city that never sleeps, Nancy also shares some recs for spots she's loved in 2025 and some tips on hotspots you're better off swiping left on. Nancy's also with us for Chef's Kiss Big Miss to talk adult advent calendars, turkey prices skyrocketing 70%, the Manhattan equivalent of Erewhon, and a world-famous soccer player's controversial breakfast choice. A reminder that the LA Food Podcast is part of the Acquired Taste Media family. Be sure to listen to our sister podcast, Taqueando with Bill Esparza. This week, Bill interviewed Chef Jose Luis Hinostroza of Arca in Tulum. It was a fascinating conversation on how the former Noma chef is reimagining what it means to cook in the jungle using indigenous ingredients and sort of flipping what you'd expect of Mexican food on its head. That's available wherever you listen to podcasts. Please leave both Bill's show and our show 5 stars. That would truly mean the world to us. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Servodio, and without further ado, it's time to chow down. Dear listener, I made a deal with my wife. She let me start a food podcast and eat ungodly amounts of noodles, pizza, sandwiches, and more under 2 conditions. One is that I never utter her name. The other is that I find ways to be healthy outside of my work in food. Being the fantastic partner I am, I found a few ways to up my health game. I exercise almost every day. I try to sneak in salads for lunch whenever I can, and I only ever snack on healthy foods. The macadamia nut has become an essential part of my daily routine, with the best omega 6-3 ratios in the nut game, 8 times better than pistachios and 20 times better than cashews. At houseofmacadamias.com, they've got a bunch of different macadamia products that you can enjoy, like savory and sweet snack packs and chocolate-covered snack bars. One of the problems with macadamias I've found is that they can be expensive, but I'm solving this for you, dear listener, because as of today, all you've got to do is head to houseofmacadamias.com and use code LAFood to get a 10% discount on a healthy snack that also happens to be delicious. So what are you waiting for? Head to www.houseofmacadamias.com/discount/LAFood and go nuts. Welcoming back to the LA Food Podcast, a woman whose podcast I'm grateful for, not just on Thanksgiving, but every day of the year. I'm talking about host, or one of the hosts, of Compliments to the Chef. It's Nancy De Silva. Nancy, how the hell are you?
Luca, it is such a pleasure. Happy Thanksgiving. Someone in my office called it Gratitude Week.
Oh, wow.
Which I kind of vibed with. And I am also grateful for your pod. Bits and I were talking last night to our friend, a third party, and we were like, it's sort of like our brother podcast.
That's true.
But now I feel like a bit of an asshole because I did wear a shirt to taunt you today, which is I'm wearing my I Love New York shirt. I don't know if you can see it. Iconic.
Yeah. I spotted it.
Because I must represent it all times. I bought this shirt out of spite when my former employer asked me to relocate to the middle of the country. And I wore this shirt in protest to the office every day.
Well, that's shots at flyover country, not LA necessarily.
But I feel there will be some shots at LA on this podcast.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. Look, the point of today's podcast is we're intentionally bringing in a New Yorker to hear about how our, evil older brother across the country is doing from a culinary perspective, but also to sort of hear, like, how do you as New Yorkers perceive LA in today's day and age? Mm-hmm. But look, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it right away. I want to start with a little bit of a softball for you. Nancy, how do you feel about Thanksgiving in general? And does your family have any unique, quirky Thanksgiving traditions?
Luca, you don't know what you just stepped into. Because obviously my family has weird traditions and it's obviously just me perpetuating them. So I love Thanksgiving. It is my favorite day of the year for many reasons. But the primary one being, and my dad says this every year on Thanksgiving, it's the one holiday that has not been co-opted by religion, the one national holiday. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. People can celebrate it how they want. And it also, I understand that like Black Friday is a thing, like I do work in advertising, but it isn't really a super commercialized holiday, which I like.
Yeah, I mean.
But Black Friday is really a Christmas thing, not a Thanksgiving thing. You see what I mean?
It is.
But okay, so the year is 2013.
Oh, we're going back.
Yeah. And I decide that I was in college and I was just like a troll. I lived to be a troll. And I decided that it would be fun to play a joke on my aunt and uncle who host Thanksgiving every year. And I showed up to Thanksgiving dressed as a pilgrim, like full garb. And it really took off and sort of got a life of its own. And so for the past over a decade, I have been dressing up in costume for Halloween.
It's amazing.
Or sorry, Thanksgiving, excuse me. And they are like very detailed costumes.
Wow.
All homemade. I've been a turkey. I've been an apple pie. I've been cranberry sauce, the kind from a can. I've been a cornucopia. I've been mashed potatoes and gravy. I've been the sweet potato souffle with the marshmallows on top.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. But I am running out of ideas. I think my magnum opus was I was Plymouth Rock.
That's amazing.
Which was like psychotic.
Yeah.
And I just had a rock and I just sat in the middle of the room for a while.
So to be clear, just paint the image for us. You are, I'm assuming, the sole person at these functions in costume, right?
Yeah, correct.
So it's you dressed as a rock while everybody is dressed normally.
Correct. And they are full body cumbersome costumes. Like they are hard to sit down in.
Yeah.
But I am committed to this bit.
What inspired this? Like why did you show up as a pilgrim the first time?
Because I was just like in an age where I needed to be the class clown at all times. And I love attention and I thought it would be funny. And I got all of that.
Yeah.
So it really took off. And I will say that as I've gotten older, I now dress up myself less and I dress up my nieces and nephews.
That's cute.
In little costumes. They're usually pilgrims, to honor the tradition.
Of course.
But I have also commissioned a woman on Etsy who has made these beautifully elaborate berets of different Thanksgiving dishes that now my whole family wears.
I was thinking about what else you could be, and then I was thinking back on like slightly Thanksgiving related Top Chef challenges, and the one about the indigenous peoples came to mind, and I was like, actually, that's probably not a costume she should wear.
I would never. I am not an idiot. I was raised in the age of the internet, and I have enough wits about me to not dip into that.
Yeah. Well, there's still lots of side dishes you could potentially. There's green bean casserole.
Yes, green bean casserole is something I've never actually accomplished, but really would like to at one point.
Well, can you give our listeners by the time this comes out, it will have already been Thanksgiving. Can you give our listeners a peek into what you'll be this year?
Well, so this year, as I said, I've sort of graduated. We're not going to my aunt and uncles anymore. So with a new era comes a new tradition, and that's what the hats are for. So everyone will be wearing the hats this year, but they're really beautiful. Like there's a pecan pie, there's an apple pie. They're very nice. I can share photos. But also a less verbose, weird family tradition is we always have a key lime pie. So there is a key lime pie hat.
That's epic. I like that. I think I speak for both Saul and I when I say we want hats, and we're going to be disappointed if we don't get them.
You will get hats.
Hey, speaking of the other things in your life, tell us what's going on with Compliments to the Chef. I understand you guys just were doing GBBO, Great British Bake Off.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel selfish. I feel like I'm taking up so much airtime on this.
You're the guest here.
Wow. So nice. Compliments to the Chef. Yes. We have yet to complete this season of Great British Bake Off just because it's been a bit busy. We have 2 more episodes to cover. But we are covering this season of Great British Bake Off. But in more exciting news, in honor of Top Chef host Kristen Kish being on The Traitors this upcoming season. We will be covering the entire season of The Traitors, and we are very excited about this.
That's amazing.
I am personally super stoked because I have fully become a reality television garbage monster, and we're branching out into other reality TV franchises. So that'll be fun. So stay tuned for that in January.
That's huge. That's like very, very tangentially food related, but it seems like you got.
Oh,
yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just Kristen Kish.
I love it.
And so this is my way of convincing Bits to turn this into a Bravo pop culture podcast. But I don't think it'll stick.
Hey, you never know. Even when you were talking about, we are so on the same page. Even when you were talking about your costumes, I was like, oh, like Bronwyn does when she picks up Todd from the airport in Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, of course.
Luke, do you want to talk Real Housewives for a second? How are you feeling about this season?
I'm gonna confess, I'm like 3 episodes behind. And it's disgusting because it's my favorite franchise, Salt Lake City. So, but that's because the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives came out at the same time, and that's probably my favorite show on TV.
I had to interrupt my. I've never seen Real Housewives of New York, so I've started that journey. I've only seen Salt Lake, and I knew this would happen. My black tar heroin, like the housewives are just shoot it straight into the veins. But I was watching Real Housewives of New York, but then Secret Lives of Mormon Wives came out.
Yeah.
We could really go on about that. What did you think of this season?
We could. Maybe we need a spin-off. We need a spin-off podcast on that. And there's plenty of.
So what I'm hearing is you will be a guest on the Traitors pod.
I have been waiting for an excuse to get into Traitors, and this is it. This is it. Like, you have given me the full excuse. I have another confession for you, though.
You do not need an excuse. It is such a good show.
No, I don't. I just need more like a push, you know, because there's so much out there on TV. I have a confession for you. I have been saving your guys' Great British Bake Off episodes because I don't watch Great British Bake Off with the rest of the world. It's such like a feel-good show to me that I save it for the holidays. Like, I need it. Mm-hmm. I need it as like that comfort blanket during the holidays. So I've been saving it.
Wow. Well, we will make sure to finish it by the holidays. We only need to do 2 more episodes. We will be sure to finish it for you. I hope that you enjoy it this season. We've actually gone a bit viral on TikTok as a result of this season of
Whoa.
We have one video that has like 400,000 views, which I understand like isn't that big, but like it's big for us.
That's pretty big.
So I made a comment about how there's like some words with a British accent that I don't like the sound of. And Americans like blew up this video in the comments, and they started being like, yeah, and I hate the way they do this and I hate the way they do that.
That's amazing.
And so that got like 200,000 views. And then a week later, the British found this video and like started hate commenting on the video, being like, Americans are the worst. You're so dumb. So yeah, I'll take it all. We're famous on TikTok now. We only have 97 followers.
That is incredible. 400,000
crazy day.
400,000 views is more than any video I've ever gotten on TikTok. So that's
me too.
That's huge. So you basically started
sitting at around 400.
No, that's good. I mean, you're like in 400 view jail. So breaking out of that and getting to 400,000 is an insane accomplishment. Congratulations. But are you saying you basically started an international incident on TikTok?
Yes, I did.
It's amazing.
When World War III comes, they will trace it back to my TikTok account.
This was the shot heard across the world, or whatever they used to say about that.
Heard across the Atlantic.
Yeah, that one. Well, hey, thanks for that update. Everybody go tune in to Compliments to the Chef, whether it's for GBBO, for Top Chef, or for Traitors, as we just learned. Now, I want to dive into it. I want to dive into what we call the big deal of the day.
Okay.
You're here, Nancy, so we can ask you some questions about the state of dining in New York City. Now, I think in LA, we've got a bit of a chip on our shoulder. A lot of people have a chip on our shoulder because we're always being compared to New York, meaning like if our restaurants do something good, you know, it's like, okay, that's cute, but like, how is it compared to this other place in New York? Or you now have 2-3 Michelin starred restaurants, LA. Okay, that's awesome, but how many does New York have?
Yep.
Because we're always talking about New York from an outsider perspective, I wanted to bring you in so we could finally like talk to someone who lives and breathes New York dining. And I know that you're out in the town, right?
I am. I would not consider myself a foodie. Like, I don't get obsessed or like I don't fetishize ingredients and like techniques, but I really enjoy being current and going to new restaurants. Yes.
And you know the hotspots. I know this just by
do.
virtue of speaking with you.
Yes.
So look, we've discussed LA as being in a bit of an ebb year in terms of like restaurant excitement, and it's due to a ton of factors. We've had a billion closures. There's not been a ton of exciting openings, or super exciting openings, I should say. And there's just this like sort of general economic bleh feeling driven by fires, the lingering effects of the Hollywood strikes, and more. What's the vibe in New York City right now? Is there doom and gloom, or is there a little bit more excitement?
It is so interesting to think about the different external factors that affect the restaurant industry. I would say across the board, and I know LA is at the forefront of this, but nationally, the conversation this year in the restaurant world was around labor, particularly immigrant labor.
Yeah.
And I would say that that's definitely affected New York City. But what I would say about the New York City dining scene, and this is very personal, is I am bored. There are always, and I'm not bored because things are boring. I'm bored because of the oversaturation of sameness and options. New York, the floor is very high.
Yeah.
Like without a doubt, your average meal is excellent. And so there's a little bit of jadedness that comes into play. But the New York dining scene is now an incredibly well-oiled marketing machine. Like it almost feels like restaurants are Ponzi schemes where like they get all their money when they open and then like 2 months later they're gone.
Really?
Because the rent is too damn high and no one can really sustain a real business here. So you need these big flashy marketing campaigns. And it just feels like New York City is overrun with well-marketed restaurants that are good. Very few of them to me break through the noise of just being like talented people cooking. There's a lot of sameness in the menus that we're seeing. Like, spare me a burger and a Caesar salad. I'm done.
Oh, is that what's hot right now? It's like this sort of like old school Americana done fancy.
Yes, American Bistro, so in. It's essentially grown up kids' meals.
Yeah.
There was a really good article about this restaurant, The Corner Store, which I've never been to, which is like the hardest table to get in New York City because Taylor Swift ate there. Like, no shade on Taylor Swift, but like it's a celebrity magnet, and it's because it's hard to get a table.
Yeah.
And then that perpetuates itself. Literally, you get a burger, you get a Caesar salad, you get chicken nuggets, you get French fries, and you get a martini. And that's culture now. It's just like this. And so the New York Times did a really good article about it. And I am bored of that. And then I will say the past few years, there have been really interesting renaissances for different ethnic cuisines. Like Thai, regional Thai, Som Thai has gotten really, really good in New York. I am excited. But right now, I can't think of a cuisine that's really dominating the scene. And I am hopeful that it will be Indian food or South Asian food in the coming years. We now have Sema, which is the first Indian restaurant to have a Michelin star. We have in New York City. Dishoom is coming to New York City in 2026, which I get it. It's like white people Indian food. But you have to understand Indian food in the U.S. is such trash compared to what is overseas. So I'm excited to have that. There are a lot, like Ada is a restaurant that was in Long Island City. It's now in Manhattan. For those in LA who don't know, crossing a body of water is an emotional barrier that you'll never get over. So like the fact that that's available on the island of Manhattan is huge. That I foresee in my crystal ball as the theme that's coming up.
That's cool.
Sorry, I've sort of gone off topic, but all to say, I'm just a bit uninterested and I'm tired of the reservation game.
Oh, we're going to get into that. Don't you worry.
Okay, I have good notes on the reservation game.
No, I'm so curious about that because that's something that Saul told me you told him about, and I want to hear your take on reservations because I hear it is a hellscape out there. But it's really interesting to hear you say that about New York because I feel like we're experiencing a lot of the same thing in LA. We haven't gone to like Chicken Nuggets Gate yet, but we have. It does feel like the only thing that's opening are American bistros or like elevated wine bars that just serve like hanger steak and like little gem salads with Bub and Grandma's bread. I'm assuming Bub and Grandma's bread has not made it to New York yet.
It has not, but I would say Little Gem definitely popular. Chicories. Everyone's into chicories.
Yep.
Like,
Fucking
enough.
love chicories.
I love chicories too, but it's just not.
No, I'm saying everybody fucking loves
interesting.
chicories right now. Yeah.
It's just like, ay. And chicken nuggets. Oh, so much red meat. It's actually insane.
A lot of red meat.
I love a steak. Don't get me wrong. But I did not foresee the amount of red meat I'd be dining out getting in my life. It was a bit of a curveball for me.
No, for sure. Tartars, like hanger steaks, like it's all over the place. Interesting to hear you say about Indian food, where we also, I mean, in LA, I feel like our rising cuisine, so to speak, is Caribbean food, but that's pretty well explored in New York City, right?
Definitely.
There's
some guy in the Bronx, I think, who's like blowing up right now because he does like pig roast out of the back of his car. And it's like the best pork you can get in New York City. And it's like I think it's like in a heavily Dominican neighborhood, and like they just vibe out and like sit on chairs and watch this guy roast pork. He's kind of blowing up right now. It's supposed to be good. I have yet to make the trek, but I would like to.
Yeah, no, that sounds epic. Look, speaking of things that have broken through the jadedness, what are a couple meals that have really, stuck out to you in 2025?
Thank you for asking this question. So I had a night 2 weeks ago that was just like the best New York night ever. And it was because of, so the reservation game is insane in New York City. I don't know if you can hear the sirens going past my apartment right now. That's just...
It's beautiful. It's so New York.
It's the symphony of New York City. I live on an avenue, just constant sirens. So there is a restaurant in New York City that I have really been wanting to try called Ha's Snack Bar. And it is impossible to get a reservation at this restaurant. It's tiny. It's like a 24-seat restaurant. It's like squished in the Lower East Side, and it's really hard to get a reservation. And this was probably 2 weeks ago now. I was sitting at work having an awful day because corporate America is just a slog.
Yeah.
And the girl I sit next to was like, why don't we it was like 6:30. She's like, let's just close our laptops and go get dinner. And I was like, that's a great idea. But then have you seen that episode of Master of None with Aziz Ansari where he's like cross-referencing taco spots and like trying to find the right place to go? And it's like this hour long. So that commences because we're like, we want a good meal. And we keep saying that our backup is Pecora Bianca. Do you have Pecora Bianca in LA?
No. It sounds Italian?
Deeply mediocre Italian, like chain in New York. And there's one really close to our office in Bryant Park. So we were just like, okay, worst case scenario, we just go get some like very mediocre pasta. But we wanted something really good. And so we were scrolling. Nothing is open. We check all the biggies. Can't get a single reservation. Open table, Resi, everything. And then I have this app called ResX. And it's something that can really only exist in New York City because the market for reservations is so crazy in New York City. I know we'll get to it, so I'm going to put a pin in it. But it's essentially people can trade dinner reservations. So if you have a dinner reservation that you're not going to use, you can put it on this app and they get posted sort of like within 2 hours of the time. So it's really great. Like if you have a friend and you don't really have a plan for the night, and you're like, let's just see what's available. So I open the app and lo and behold, there's a reservation at Ha's Snack Bar at 7 p.m.
Wow.
And we were like, shut the laptop, get out the door. We like get to the F train. We get there in time. We had to wait for our table a little bit. But there were these two guys sitting out front who were talking to the maitre d'. She brought them like champagne and they were both congratulating each other. Apparently like Eater that day had ranked Ha's Snack Bar #1 in New York City or something.
Wow.
And these guys, we asked, we're like, you're clearly in the food industry. Where do you work? They work at Four Horsemen, which is like the spot right now for like Michelin hopefuls.
Yeah.
So we were just like vibing and then we had this meal and it was so good. It like lived up to the hype and the service was great. It's sort of like a Vietnamese mixed obviously with French, a classic combination because of colonialism.
Classic.
And it just was so good. We got the escargot. We got this tuna crudo that was out of this world. We got like spare ribs that were so good. And then we got 2 desserts. Oh my God, it was so indulgent. But that was—
What were the desserts?
we got 1 sticky toffee pudding and 1 passion fruit pavlova. I love pavlova.
Well, that makes sense. Those are 2 desserts that can exist together.
Yes. So again, I'm sorry for the verbosity, but that was a meal that just like lit me up inside. It was so good. It exceeded expectations. It was different from the Italian malaise of New York City right now, the hanger steaks, the martinis. It was just different. And it was so good.
Haas Snack Bar. Okay, you heard it here, dear listener.
Haas Snack Bar.
That's where you got to go.
You've also probably heard it in a lot of publications about New York. It's a very popular
No,
restaurant.
we break news here. They've only heard it here, okay?
Okay.
Let's be honest. That's awesome. I mean, Haas Snack Bar, I hadn't heard of that one, so I'm really excited to hear about it. What about one that you went to this year that was maybe high on your hit list, but when you got there, you were like, this ain't it?
Okay. Very quickly before that, I just want to shout out some good meals that I had this year. I'm not going to give any editorialization. I'm just going to say the names. So
That's great. You can editorialize a little bit.
no, meals that I thought were good that like stood out amongst what is a very homogenous restaurant scene in New York right now. Comal, which is a Mexican restaurant on the Lower East Side, actually very close to Haas. It doesn't have the highest rating on Infatuation, but I think it's excellent. Zimmy's, excellent. Southern French cuisine. It's sort of like south of France, a bit of like Mediterranean vibe. Excellent in the West Village. Got to shout out Maison Passerelle, our girl Gregory Gourdet. And then this is not a new restaurant. It's just a restaurant that I continually go back to and think is great. Il Buco and Il Buco Alimentari. Shout out. They do a pig roast every year. It's great. But that's just a standby that I love.
Classic. Those are great shouts.
Ones that disappointed. So glad you asked, Luca. So glad you asked. So there was one that was very hotly anticipated for Bits and me. There used to be this restaurant called Ugly Baby, and it was a Thai restaurant in Carroll Gardens in Brooklyn that just had like the spiciest food ever. And it was so good. Like
Great name.
great name. I could go, but I don't feel like getting up. We have like matching shirts from this place where it's like a bunch of hot peppers in a convertible with like flames coming out the back. It's sick. So Ugly Baby, incredible Thai restaurant. You go there to just like get your face blown off. Like it's so spicy and fun and delicious. For reasons I don't totally understand, they closed, but a lot of their back of house staff reopened it under a new name in the same location called Hungry Thirsty.
Not as good.
Not as good. Bits and I were so excited that it was coming back because it was a real favorite restaurant of ours. It was our special place. And unfortunately, it really didn't hold up. So that was just like a bit of a disappointment. We were so excited. Ugly Baby was like widely regarded as like one of the best Thai restaurants in the city. And the sequel just has not lived up to the expectation.
Did it get less spicy? You think they were afraid of scaring away the whites?
It's still very spicy. I think the dishes are, and I understand how this is going to come off, they're like very esoteric. Almost to the point where I'm like, this isn't enjoyable. So the menu just feels a lot more limited now and not as fun, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I think that happens sometimes, especially in like second generations of restaurants. I feel like the scars of closing the first time kind of scare operators into going into like safer routes. And sounds to me like maybe that's what happened. Hey, okay, I'm dying to talk about this now that you've mentioned it. But reservations. Let's talk about reservations. So what reservations are like not super easy to get in LA for hotspots, but I understand it's like on a completely different level in New York. Like it's the Hunger Games out there.
Yeah.
What's it like?
I mean, you put it perfectly. It's the Hunger Games.
Literally.
If I want, my birthday was last week. To get a reservation for my family to enjoy a meal together, I had to wake up at like 7 a.m. on September 3rd to like get online at the right time to get a reservation. Like it's ridiculous. It is so hard. It has taken the joy out of dining. It has taken a lot of the fun to the point where like I really don't dabble all that much that often anymore because it's just not fun. And then you get to the restaurant and they treat you like a loser for wanting to eat there in the first place.
That sucks.
I would say if we're talking ins and outs, bad service, ins, good service, friendly service. We need that in New York City so badly. But yeah, so the reservation game is ridiculous. It is impossible to get a reservation at any of like the top 40 restaurants in New York City. Like that's why things like ResX exist, because you have to trade. There was appointment trader for a while that was outlawed by our governor, Kathy Hochul. It was essentially a secondary market for reservations where you could pay a large premium to dine at these restaurants.
Right.
There are also things like Dorsia, which I cannot get behind. Are you familiar with Dorsia?
Yeah, there's a few people that are trying to roll it out here too. I mean, it's basically like what Governor Hochul outlawed, right? But legal.
Yeah, so they outlawed the secondary market for reservations.
Yeah.
Which is like people would create bots that would get reservations in New York City, which is crazy.
It's like Ticketmaster. It's like a Taylor Swift concert, but for reservations.
It literally is that. That is exactly, it is the Eras Tour, but for just trying to have dinner with your homies. And Dorsia is more, you pay a guaranteed minimum per head. So you're essentially buying a reservation directly from the restaurant, but the restaurant can set what that minimum is.
Yeah.
And so to me, the reason why I would never do it is like, wow, you wanted to go to Carbone that badly. Like you needed that spicy rigatoni that badly that you paid $500 a head for it. Like that's embarrassing.
Ain't nobody need that rigatoni that bad.
Yeah. Like miss me with that. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and then something that I feel has not really been widely talked about is the great resurgence of Open Table. Has this happened in LA?
Yeah, so there was an article like a couple years ago, right? Last year about how Open Table is coming for Resi's lunch.
Yes.
And I have noticed that, Open Table has really upped its game, and it feels like a lot of the hot restaurants are opting for OT over Resi.
So here's what happened. So Amex owns Resi.
Right.
Visa does not own Open Table, but Open Table is sort of positioning itself to be purchased by Visa.
How so?
Because Resi has been, for the most part, like a real boon for Amex.
Yeah.
These like it's the great credit card wars. Like it's the Chase Sapphire Reserve versus the Amex Platinum. It's the $800 fees. Like it is because of the credit card wars. And essentially what this is people have noticed that Amex has done this great marketing campaign around these luxury restaurants, and that people have, perceived the Amex to be like a gold ticket to getting into these good restaurants. So Open Table was like, well, if we get these good restaurants on our platform, then some other credit card network is going to swoop us up.
Smart.
It's very smart. So Open Table has gone out. Lord knows what they've promised these restaurants, because like, again, these high-end reservations in New York City are genuine currency. Like they are social capital. And they're also business capital. Like this is for the guys with the black cards who are taking investors out to dinner. Like it's that type of stuff in New York. You have to think about like the audience and who's eating here. But they've essentially convinced a lot of these big name restaurants to go over to the Open Table platform. And now they're like, okay, Visa, like come and take us. And you see, they have not yet been purchased, but Visa has a huge partnership with Open Table, specifically through Chase Sapphire,
right,
which is the competitor to Amex. Anyway, I could wax poetic about this forever, but it is truly because of the credit card companies.
No, it's super interesting, and like the kind of nerdy thing that like our audience really likes. So this is like they love this. I'm just curious, like what you said it with some degree of excitement, like what's happening with Open Table.
Well, it's just so interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am excited because Resi has had such a chokehold on the New York City dining scene that I am, and it's an awful product. It is a broken, buggy, someone who's in like the tech world, it is an objectively bad.
Yeah. Great branding,
but it's just like, it's not a good platform. And I hate it. And I hate what it has done to New York City and like the chokehold that they have on restaurants. And so I'm just happy to see some democratization happening here. Like it's been a monopoly for so long.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that Open Table, sort of the OG, is coming back and having this resurgence. I love it.
So you're excited because you do think it could have some positive impacts for diners too, like a less buggy experience, but maybe just the fact that you have more options for reservations might even help.
Honestly, I think I'm just happy to see Resi losing ground more than I'm happy to see Open Table gaining ground. I just like Resi, I don't like at all.
Well, it's funny you bring up Resi. We had their founder on our podcast a couple weeks ago.
What's that guy's name again?
Ben Leventhal.
Yeah. He's a New York City kid.
Yeah, well, he was not talking about Resi on that particular episode because he's launched a new product. It's called Blackbird. Has Blackbird made a splash there? Or do you use Blackbird?
I do not use Blackbird. My boyfriend uses Blackbird. I don't know that it's made a splash.
Mm-hmm.
New York is an incredible Blackbird. It's like a loyalty program, right?
Exactly, and like a way to pay at restaurants.
Yeah. So my boyfriend does it because he's interested in the reservation game and from a business perspective, which is kind of why I know, I've thought through a lot of this and I like restaurants, so it works well.
Yeah.
But New York is an incredibly fickle market. Loyalty, especially in the restaurant world, doesn't totally exist. There are standbys. There are old New York haunts that people love and are loyal to, but for the most part, especially with the marketing machine that now exists with the infatuation and all these creators, New Yorkers have a very short-term memory when it comes to restaurants.
Right.
And because it's so hard to get these fucking reservations, it's impossible to be loyal to a single restaurant because you're lucky if you get to dine there once in your life. I will never be able to go back to Haas Snack Bar. That was a fluke. And so if Haas, cool, Teresi has Blackbird, great. I'll get to dine there once if I'm lucky. There's no loyalty component there.
Well, so this is interesting to me because it kind of shows me, because the whole proposition of Blackbird is I think they recognize that. And so what they're trying to do is be airline miles, essentially so your loyalty doesn't have to be to one single restaurant. It's to the entire network of Blackbird restaurants. However, the fact that you're not even bringing that up makes me think, wow, this really has not broken through in New York. And I'm just saying that because it just rolled out in LA, right? And I was really optimistic hearing about its potential, but it sounds like you're someone who's pretty plugged in, and it doesn't sound like it's completely taken hold there.
It has. I am plugged. I need to caveat. I am plugged in, but I don't think I'm adventurous in a way. I know Belly is really big. I don't really play around with that.
I don't either.
I don't play around with Blackbird. I just want to go places. It shouldn't be so hard to just eat. And we shouldn't need these disintermediation, this incentive structure just to have a good meal. It's gotten a bit ridiculous.
I agree.
This is the future no one wanted for dining.
It's true.
And yet it is here.
Hey, anytime there's something that people want, people are going to swoop in and figure out how to sell it to them, right? Even if it's currently free. And it does feel like that's where we're at. The problem is once you've let the genie out of the bottle, how do you get it back in?
Exactly.
So.
And the issue that is fundamental in all of this in New York City is the rent is too damn high. Restaurants cannot survive. They cannot survive. The only restaurants that can survive are the ones that happen to buy their space in the 80s when it was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Places don't last. And so there's this really short amount of time where they can make all their money. Mm-hmm. And the ones that do break through, the ones that do last, good on them, they are the exception to the rule.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's touch on, you've already mentioned good service being something you want to see more of, bad service being a trend you're done with. Obviously, we've talked about the Little Gem salads and the steaks and the burgers. Are there any other trends we should be aware of from a New York perspective?
I think that we are getting dangerously close to the comically tweezery type of food that we saw in the mid-aughts and the molecular gastronomy. There was the Wiley Dufresne era of New York City restaurants, right?
Wiley Dufresne, as Bits likes to say.
Wiley Dufresne. Very important. Thank you for that callback. Bits will be happy. And that was a really dominating scene. And I think, and we even saw it on Top Chef, some young chefs got really, really into that. And then there was a huge reaction to that. The pendulum swung totally in the other direction with what has dominated, I would say, for the past 10 years, which is the Bon Appetit, home cooking, Alison Roman style meals. And anyone can do it type of thing. which I love. It is great, but I do think that it can be a bit aw shucks to a fault.
Yeah.
But when done well, it's excellent. But now the pendulum is swinging back to the Boutelots of the world, the Hussos. Shout out. That was another incredible meal that I had this year, but I didn't want to go on.
I want to go.
But I do think that things are moving back in that direction. I think we're going to see a lot more white tablecloth fine dining.
Yeah. That's a great shout. And actually, it brings me to my next question. We love to talk about Michelin on this podcast. And I know that the Michelin guide was just released for New York.
Yes.
Anything on there that like set the city on fire in terms of shock?
I mean, I think I was really happy to see Husso. I mean, it is insane that like right out of the gate, Buddha gets his own restaurant and gets a Michelin star.
That's really cool. Knowing Buddha, I think he was pissed he only got one.
You think? Yeah,
I mean, just because he's like the most ambitious guy ever.
Yes, he is the most ambitious guy ever. He's incredible. It just gives him something to strive for. Like that man's creativity and success knows no bounds. I'm calling it now. I'm saying 2027, we're going to see like a lowbrow concept from Boutelot that I'm excited about, whatever that's going to be. I don't know. That's just me. That's projection or conjecture.
Fried chicken by Buddha.
Yeah, like it's going to be because, another thing that we see a lot of, I've been saying this for years, is like former EMP, like line chefs opening like a donut spot. Or like,
oh yeah,
I can do highbrow and lowbrow. There are two 11 Madison Park alums who have a new pizza spot called Ceres. I think it's pronounced Ceres, where they sell out by like 2 p.m. You got to line up. I haven't yet been, but we see a lot of that in New York City, and I think it's a bit of a cliche. But I think we'll get that from Buddha at some point.
We've gotten that here in LA too. Like there's this guy, Josh Skanes, who came from the Saison and group in San Francisco. And then last year he opened this like Neapolitan pizza place that was selling like $40 pizzas, which honestly, like, I think it's still open, but nobody's talking about it. And I'm pretty sure he just opened his own fried chicken concept. So yeah, it's a thing.
Well, here's the deal. These guys have to make money. Michelin restaurants run at such razor thin margins.
For sure.
I don't fault them for trying to figure out. I mean, Wiley Dufresne has a fucking pizza chain now called Stretch, and it's good.
Yeah.
But like,
and I hear it's good.
It is good. Bits and I went. It's delicious. But these guys have to make money. Their empires can't just be built on artistry alone. And that's why, we see them opening restaurants in Vegas and like all this stuff. They got to do it. And I think that. Got to
get the bag.
Yeah. So, okay, other restaurants that got Michelin stars, there's Bridges, which I really want to go to. It's, it's like a tiny bistro that's supposed to be really good. It's in Chinatown.
Did they get one or two?
It got one, I believe.
Okay.
And then there's a Korean restaurant called Ju-ok, I think it's pronounced. Got two. I have never really been super covetous of the Michelin stars. I think Husso and Buddha have been my entry point into that world. It's something that like I'll do, but there's so much to do in New York that like it's not at the top of my list.
I was going to ask that, right? Because I feel like Michelin is a little newer in LA. And so it's not, I don't think it's how people in LA, it's not a guide people in LA use to navigate restaurants ourselves. It feels like more for outsiders. Yeah, it's a point of pride if we have a 3-star restaurant. But I get the sense maybe in New York it's the same deal. It's like, there's so much good shit. You don't need to use the Michelin guide to tell you where to eat.
Yes, exactly. And it's just like these restaurants are a cut above. They are a distinctive dining experience in New York, so I appreciate them. Oh, you know what? Does One White Street have a Michelin star? I went there recently. It was delicious. It was so expensive. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I did not realize I was getting into that. But
those are the worst experiences. When you don't realize the financial commitment you're about to make. Yes. I had one of those experiences recently. I thought it was going to be like, maybe like $100, ended up being $250. I was like, what just happened?
100% agree. Like it's just a lot. So it's just not something I can do all that often on my, regular salary.
Yeah, no, corporate America, it's not helping us. The last question I have for you on New York is, it feels like there's a little bit of a moment happening with New York food media. Obviously, like there's been, we've been really excited about the new New York Times critics that started this year. There's that new food podcast from Jay Lee on the Feed Me Network, Expense Account, your friend of compliments to the chef, Jay Lee.
Friend of the pod.
Yeah, friend of the pod.
Can I just say, like, how cool are we that we got him before he got his own podcast?
I know. I think he's actually going to be coming on this podcast in a couple weeks, but like you guys got him before he was cool. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so excited that you're talking to him. I am his biggest fan. Like, I think I embarrassed myself when he was on our pod because I was such a fangirl and I feel so lame, but I will support that man and whatever he does as long as I live. Like, he is so good and I'm so happy for the success that he's having with Feed Me. I love his pod. It's good. Oh my God, I'm so excited that he's coming on your podcast. Yeah, it's great. I will say, so like in general, I feel as I, reach the end of the year and become a bit reflective, I think 2025 for me was a year of being too oversaturated with content. Like it's gotten a bit out of hand. This goes for all media. It's social media, it's food media, it's all of it. And I am feeling a bit exhausted with the inundation of new. Yeah. And so I know that you sort of like his podcast Expense Account, so good. I am again so happy that he has this platform. But I think it is unfortunately, and no fault of his own, like just part of this very large tapestry of commentary that exists nowadays.
Yeah. It's so hard to break through.
It's so hard to break through. And if anyone can do it, I hope it's him, truly. But I think nothing's going to make a splash. Like, I know you guys are super stoked about the new New York Times critics. They're great. But there's so much. There's also like Joe Schmo who's just giving their opinion on the same restaurant. Yeah. That Priya Krishna has given her opinion on. And so, who famously I didn't recognize at a party.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't even recognize Priya Krishna at a party. But that's what I was going to ask you, right? Like, does anybody actually give a fuck about who the New York Times critics are in New York? Like, I feel like once upon a time, it was a big deal. They were like, oh my God, this guy's coming to our restaurant, or this guy said this, or Ruth Reichel said this restaurant was good, or this restaurant was bad. But nowadays, it seems like they're probably not tastemakers in the same way.
Oh my God. Criticism as a body of art has fundamentally changed with the onset of the creator economy. Yeah. And we are just no longer living in a golden age of criticism. And I don't mean that to be like woeful or nostalgic. I mean, it's just the types of critique that we hear are no longer qualified. And I don't mean that like they don't have degrees. I mean, it can be done by anyone and there's a beauty to that. But then there's also, I don't know how to say this without sounding like an asshole, but like there's a cheapening of it.
Sound like an asshole, Nancy. No, you're preaching to the choir here.
So my book club just read Graydon Carter's autobiography. Graydon Carter, for those who don't know, is the former editor-in-chief of Vanity Fair. He was a bit of a man about town in New York City in the 80s and 90s, early 2000s. He's the guy who spearheaded the Vanity Fair Oscar party. A real legend in his own right. This book was so much fun. If you are interested in like discovering what New York was like in the 80s and 90s, definitely read this book. The thing that jumped out to me was how cheap New York City was in the 80s and 90s. Wow. And how different it is now.
He's the one who famously called Trump's hand small, right?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. He talks a lot about his beef with Donald Trump in the book, which is nice. He is so funny about it. It's very name droppy. You can skip like 100 pages in the second half, but it's a fun book and it's a fun read. And the biggest thing that jumped out to me, besides how cheap New York City was in the 80s, was being a tastemaker is such a refined art that I really don't think we have these titans of culture anymore. And that's not necessarily bad, but with the mass amount of content that is out there, there are very few singular voices that break through. Yeah. And there aren't really these people sort of defining what is good, what is bad. And it's just completely changed the landscape. So to your question of like, what's going to break through? Are people excited? Newspaper criticism feels so outdated at this point in time. Yeah. And it's not to say it isn't good. Like it's really, really good. But in this sea of content that exists, it does get lost.
It's for the heads. It really is.
It's for the heads.
Yeah.
It's for the heads. I agree.
At this point in time, it's almost like a spark for more conversation, but it's no longer, I think, the singular tastemaker, to your point. And it's just really interesting because, we spend so much, probably an inordinate amount of time talking about like what critics think on this podcast. Mm-hmm. But I think that's probably how it works these days. It's people who really give a shit, like us, talking about it, and then getting like helping to spread the message more and starting the conversation. So it's interesting. I feel like it's just taking a different form. But it's interesting to know that just those singular people, those individuals, don't hold as much weight. And frankly, I think that could be a good thing.
Oh, totally. I mean, it opens up the world for people like you and me to have the harebrained ideas to start our own podcast. Like, who the fuck am I with my Gmail account asking NBC for screeners of The Traitors? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's incredible.
It's so cool. Yeah, no, it's incredibly dangerous, but also incredibly just freeing and just like kind of like pinch yourself moment. Like it leads to these pinch yourself moments. So it's really cool. Hey, Nancy, you have been, as always, a delight. It's been so fun to talk to you about New York. I'd love to bring this episode home with a segment we always have, and that is Chef's Kiss Big Miss. Are you down for your first ever round of Chef's Kiss Big Miss?
I am so excited. I am scared. I, again, feel incredibly guilty for how little I have let you talk on this podcast, but I appreciate the vibes.
That's why you're here, okay? You do it in a much more gracious way than Father Saul does. Let's put it that way. All right, here we go.
Okay.
The New York Times' Brian Gallagher reports that America's collective vibe heading into Thanksgiving 2025 is anxious at best, apocalyptic at worst, with avian flu sending turkey prices soaring 70%, snap disruptions, ice raids, tariff whiplash, and even a Netflix nuclear war blockbuster shaping the cultural mood. Gallagher argues that the country is basically prepping its bird with a side of existential dread. My question for you, Nancy, is this. Is paying 70% more for turkey a righteous stand defending tradition, i.e. a chef's kiss? Or is it a dumb, obstinate move when there are literally dozens of better, more affordable protein options, i.e. a big miss?
I think if you have the money and you can afford it and that type of meal is important to you, then be free. Thanksgiving is about gratitude. It's about gathering with your family. A few years ago, the New York Times did this great spread on like the different ways, the different cultures, like what their meals look like on Thanksgiving. They always do some form of this. Thanksgiving is just a big feast. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be turkey. I think turkey, because it's a comically large bird, is symbolic of like that big feast, like the medieval turkey leg. But I do not think that we need to be obstinate and stick to the turkey. Primarily because I think Americans all over have really different meals already for Thanksgiving. So there's no need.
All right, sticking with the turkey, a big miss, especially in this economy. I love it. Love the stand, Nancy. Okay, next one. The New York Times' Ella Quittner reports on Meadow Lane, Tribeca's newest status grocery fever dream. For people who don't know, it's a hyper-curated Erewhon-adjacent playground where $15 nuggets sell out, lines wrap the block, and TikTok turned lasagna into lore. But with raw nugget scandals, rodent videos, and critics pointing to NYC's affordability crisis and looming snap cuts, the opening has sparked a bigger debate about who these designer provisions are actually for. All right, Nancy, is Meadow Lane a chef's kiss, just the harmless indulgence New Yorkers need right now, or a peak luxury big miss in a city where food insecurity keeps rising?
Peak luxury big miss. I will die on this hill. Meadow Lane. Here's the thing. New York City, and I understand that I'm a New Yorker through and through, New York City will never have Erewhon. The East Coast produce will never be good enough to give us Erewhon. And that is just a fact. And we can try to build the Erewhons of New York, but we will never have it. Did you see that video about how Meadow Lane's chicken nuggets were like raw and giving people salmonella?
This article was the first I'd ever read of Meadow Lane, so that's all news to me.
It's just like well-branded groceries. And as much as I hate to admit it, Erewhon is so much more than well-branded groceries. It's really good.
Yeah.
And it just... No, I think Meadow Lane is the exact reason why New Yorkers can't have nice things. It's dumb. It's expensive. I'm sure I will eat it at some point. It's all trends. It's all fads. And it is exorbitantly expensive to make up for the Tribeca price tag of the rent. The rent is too damn high.
So it sounds like a rent is too damn high coded big miss. Good job. All right,
Yes.
Moving on to the next one. The LA Times' Stephanie Braziot reports on the adult advent calendar boom, where unboxing culture has collided with luxury food trends to produce everything from $25 tea samplers to $945 caviar countdowns that sell out before Halloween. Brands like Fly by Jing, Dandelion Chocolate, and Bon Maman are fueling a full-blown holiday arms race, one part cozy nostalgia, one part wellness flex, and one part status symbol. Nancy, is this whimsical December joy in a box a chef's kiss, or the most indulgent big miss of the holiday season?
I think it's neither, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
As someone who's worked in advertising her whole career, like this is go time for brands, and this is just a cash grab, and it sucks that this is what this has come to, but good on them. Like there's no winning in this craziness that is the holiday shopping season, and if this is how food brands and perishables can get in on the game, then go for it.
It's a knife fight out there.
It is silly.
Yeah.
It's insane. It is insane. It's why I love Thanksgiving, because it's not super commercialized, but the Christmas season is truly just shopping.
Yeah.
That is what it is. And if you are not putting skin in that game, you are losing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
it's like
I think
table
it's a
stakes.
business necessity.
Yeah. Now, what would your ideal advent calendar be?
Oh, so I am Jewish and learned what an advent calendar
Right.
was only recently.
Yeah.
But I think so. It's supposed to be like the month of December. You like take one thing out of the little cubby hole every day.
And it
right?
sounds like every single brand, like for example, like Fly by Jing has like a chili crisp one. This caviar company has one where it's caviar, right? So like, what is a brand you love, or like a product you love that you're like, oh yeah, I'd fuck up an advent calendar of that?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I will say I love dandelion chocolate.
Okay.
I think it's exceptionally delicious. So I would definitely go on that one. Fly by Jing, I'm less like sold on. I think their products are good, but I don't need a month's worth of them. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, what would be good products that I just can't resist? Maybe like dumplings, a different dumpling every day.
Ooh, that's cool. Except like just popping one dumpling every day feels like
dumpling.
It feels like teasing in the worst way. I was gonna say like coffee, like give me a different like grind of coffee every day, or like maybe make one flavored, make one not, and then I can like enjoy a different cup of coffee every day of the holidays. That to me sounds like the perfect idea.
That sounds nice. Yeah, I could see how that would be a lovely addition to your day.
Thank you. Yeah, you don't drink coffee, do you?
I don't drink coffee. So one of the Bits' favorite things about me is that I can never remember what day Christmas is. Like it always fucks me up. And
what, like the date? December 25th?
I always think it's the 26th. Like for some reason,
That's so funny.
I believe in my heart of hearts that Christmas is on the 26th.
Wow.
And this came to the fore when I was in 7th grade on a Spanish test. And the teacher said aloud dates in Spanish, and you had to write the Spanish name of the holiday. And he said December 25th in Spanish, and I wrote Christmas Eve because in my head, Christmas is the 26th. And I got the question wrong. And he was like, no, you misunderstood. You thought I said the 24th. It's your fault. And I was like, no, you said the 25th. That's New Year's Eve or Christmas Eve. And it like, he refused. He thought I was just like yanking his chain. Like he refused to believe that I didn't know when Christmas was, but I always forget.
Wow. What a Christian-centric perspective that teacher was coming from. All right. I think advent calendars, we're giving them a not a chef's kiss, not a big miss, just a must if you want to survive as a brand.
Yeah.
Okay, last one for you, Nancy. You've done amazing so far. You're definitely winning the game, okay? I included this one in honor of your Great British Bake Off authority status because it's slightly pastry related. Okay. BBC's Football Interview reports that Arsenal star Bukayo Saka once started his school days with a seemingly deranged breakfast: a hot cross bun stuffed with a chopped frankfurter and ketchup, a sweet, salty Frankenstein that he now admits he'd never touch again. Nancy, is young Saka's DIY breakfast innovation a chaotic stroke of chef's kiss genius, or a big miss that should stay firmly in the archives of childhood food crimes?
I actually think this is a chef's kiss. Like it's just a hot dog with a sweet bun. I'm not mad about this.
I agree. I think it actually sounds really good. Like I think he could start a line of like a celebrity line of hot cross buns with sausages in them. That would be amazing.
Yeah. But also, like, hot dogs are a freaky food already. Like, you're a freak if you're down in a glizzy. And so, like, I will not judge anyone's preferred hot dog preparation. Like, they are weird things.
Yeah, they are.
Like, we have to agree that, like, you're a freak down in a dog.
We all are. We've normalized it too much.
We've normalized it.
Yeah.
And I think that you should just let the man eat his hot dog however he wants.
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Bukayo, we support your hot cross bun and Frankfurter addiction. Nancy, you have been amazing on today's podcast. Honestly, if this was we should start a podcast that's just about like coastal elite food, you know, Los Angeles and New York, because
Don't tempt me with a good time.
it would have like 5 listeners, but it would be a good time for us. I understand you got to head out and put on your family's hats for Thanksgiving, so I don't want to keep you
Well, wait, before we go.
Oh, yeah.
Before we go, can you tell me a little bit about your Thanksgiving traditions and what I know you're not, you didn't grow up in the United States, so I'm always curious how non-native people celebrate the holiday.
Do Thanksgiving. You know what though? My grandfather was American. So he lived in Italy his whole life, but he was American. So like growing up, my mom did celebrate Thanksgiving. So she did try to like celebrate Thanksgiving with us when we were growing up. And I was a fat kid. Any opportunity to just sit around and eat pie, I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. It quickly became my favorite holiday, so much so that one year we were scheduled to go down and celebrate Thanksgiving with my uncle in Milan. And the night before we left, my brother got appendicitis. The audacity. The audacity. He got appendicitis. And we didn't get to go down and celebrate Thanksgiving. So we celebrated it growing up. In America, in the year of our Lord 2025, my wife's mother, my mother-in-law, is from Maryland. So what we do as like our sort of, you know, Thanksgiving tradition in this household is she flies in crab cakes.
Hell yeah.
From her favorite place in Maryland. It's called like G&M's.
Love this.
They're insanely good, Nancy. When I tell you I've never had crab cakes like this. It's basically just like massive like lump crab meat loosely packed together with like minimum binding, and we just have those on Thanksgiving with like the regular sides as like the centerpiece, and it's a beautiful tradition.
See, I love that. Like Thanksgiving can be whatever you want. It's just an excuse to have a really special home cooked meal.
Yeah.
Like that is so awesome. I'm very glad that you shared. On the sides front, what's your favorite side?
My favorite side has always been sweet potatoes. I'm a big sweet potato guy. Probably just because it was so off the wall. Like growing up in Switzerland and Italy, like you just don't get a lot. It's not a big sweet potato culture.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, sweet potatoes freak out Italians. So I really liked sweet potatoes. I also like stuffing, but sweet potatoes take the cake for me.
I love that. I'm mashed potatoes and gravy till the cows come home. It's just so good.
Same with my wife.
Stuffing I like to have like 1 or 2 bites, but it's never been my favorite thing. But I've lived in different parts of the country, and so like when I lived in New Orleans, that was a really interesting Thanksgiving feast because someone brought oyster dressing, which I never had. And it's just so fun. I love that you do the crab cakes. And then, okay, if we're talking pie, what are you going for?
I know. I knew that question was coming. I'm like a give me all of them type of guy.
Okay, but if you had to pick?
If I had to pick, I would probably say, the one like I can't live without is probably apple pie. Like I can't live without apple pie. And it needs whipped cream or ice cream for me. Like I just love all desserts to me are elevated by whipped cream or ice cream. Yes. Doesn't matter which dessert it is.
Completely agree with that.
Good. My wife hates that. She's like, you basically just want to make every dessert wet.
No, it's the texture, it's the temperature difference. It's so good.
Yes, I feel seen. What's your pie of choice?
So I actually prefer summer pies to autumn and winter pies. So like
fair.
A berry pie, literally send me to heaven. I love apple pie, but, and this might be sacrilege, I more prefer an apple crumble.
That's not
to
sacrilege.
An apple pie.
No, that's not sacrilege.
I like a crumbly top on my apples more than the pie crust.
Yeah. I feel like it distracts. Like it's an added element that I don't need. It takes away from the purity of the apple pie experience for me, but I will not kick it out of bed. In fact, we recently had a good one at this really good pizza shop in Echo Park called Quarter Sheets, Saul and I, and they did serve ice cream with it, and I was in heaven. So I can get on board with crumble.
Yeah, I prefer an apple crumble to an apple pie, but I will not turn up my nose at an apple pie. And then, of course, my family does our very weird key lime pie every year, which I love.
That's beautiful. Honestly, every family should have key lime pie on Thanksgiving.
It's just good. It's essentially just like many cans of condensed milk. It's insane.
Yeah, which is what most good desserts are. My favorite dessert in the world is tres leches cake, which is...
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's my favorite dessert in the world? Oh my God. I can't even believe I just decided to think about that in the last minutes of this podcast. I'm going to have to get back to you.
Yeah, why did you decide to stump yourself in as the last thing that people remember you with?
If I had to die with one dessert, oh my God.
Yeah, if they're like, Nancy, we're going to kill you with this dessert. We're going to poison it, but it's going to be the last thing you ever get to eat.
I think that this is going to come as a surprise to many of my fans, lovers, friends, family, because it's a non-chocolate dessert. But I think the raspberry pie from Bartlett Farm in Nantucket, Massachusetts, I'd happily have that be the last thing I ever eat.
Wow, so you're going to the grave with berry pie.
Yeah, I love berry pie. Like, it's just out of control good. Especially when the berries are good.
Yeah, no, that's the key. That's great taste. And they will never be good at Meadow Lane or whatever the fuck it's called.
Oh my God.
As good as it is at Erewhon.
I will not wait online.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. And don't buy reservations off secondary platforms also because it's illegal.
No, it's illegal.
And that's how you bring a conversation full circle, Nancy, okay? It's been such a pleasure speaking with you. You're welcome back anytime. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you next time.
Have a happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the LA Food Podcast. Thanks to our guest, Nancy De Silva, for making the time for us. We're wishing her a very happy Thanksgiving, and I hope all of her family members enjoy wearing those spectacular hats. If you like what you heard here today, dear listener, please go to wherever you listen to podcasts, leave us a rating, review, subscribe. Seriously, all that stuff would make us even more thankful this Thanksgiving weekend. We'll be back next week with another epic episode, but if you're looking for me, you can always find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube at the LA Countdown. You can also find us at It's Acquired Taste on Instagram and at acquiredtastemedia.com.